Hey everyone, Sleepy Reader here with the Bat Report. It's really kind of the sidekick report, isn't it? More and more books about sidekicks, it feels like, filling up my life. Bat sidekicks. I got 3 Batman books today, yesterday, and I've read them already. Lots of spoilers ahead. I would have also liked to get, like Darkseid War Batman, or whatever it is, which was written by Pete Tomasi, but my budget just couldn't handle it. Just too many books, too many expensive books this week. But maybe I'll get to pick that up another day. Let's see if I can keep my camera tilted the way I want it. So yeah, I got Batman and Robin Eternal. I got Robin, son of a bitch, son of a Batman. And Grayson, we're getting Kinky Grayson, the kinky cover. But let's do Batman and Robin Eternal. So I really enjoyed the first 3 issues of Batman and Robin Eternal. And sadly, everything kind of dropped through the floor for me with issue number 4. I don't think the damage is irreparable or anything like that. I think it's just a bad issue in almost every way, but at the same time, continuing the plot thread, probably just as probably hitting all the plot points that Tynion and Snyder asked the writer Steve Orlando to write. Steve Orlando did a what was it called? He did an Image series that I read the whole series. It was an undersea series. It had this amazing art and a script that I could hardly understand at all. And now he's writing, oh man. I hate when this happens. I turn on the video camera and I can't remember anything anymore. He's writing Midnighter, the gay Batman from another comic book universe who's now in the DC universe. Anyway, I think we had the bad luck here of both a scriptwriter who's not very invested in these characters and this story, and an artist who's just doing what looks like, sort of a workmanlike job, but without putting any kind of energy into the drawings and the storytelling here, which was particularly unfortunate because a large portion of the issue was a big fight scene, but it's this sort of static, energyless fight scene. I feel sure I've seen better from Scott Eaton, the penciler, so I feel like this must have been done in a big hurry. So yeah, I don't know if the panels I'm showing indicate it, but I just throughout felt like the action was still. It didn't move. There was no sense of danger or threat or success at defeating the bad guys who are either mind controlled by Mother or having been created by Mother, willing murderers for Mother. And they seem to be a large portion of the guests at this party for Bruce Wayne. But it felt like there was dialogue here that Steve Orlando thought was funny, but it just kind of fell flat. Like Bruce Wayne says, "Who are these people?" And Dick answers, "Them passionate food inspectors." "Really?" says Bruce Wayne. "No," says Dick Grayson, "not really." It's just definitely sort of the poor man's witty dialogue. And yeah, you can't even tell from the fight scene who might be winning, who might be losing. But obviously the bad guys use axes, but there's no blood, no one gets hurt. The Robins show up conveniently, the We Are Robins. And then Batgirl shows up conveniently. I think a book like this is going to be full of plot contrivances, and it's maybe a matter of how you sell it, how you finesse it. And there is no finesse here. It's just, here's Batgirl, here's the Robins, here's some pretend witty banter. And then here is Bluebird and Bluebird and Cassandra Cain having a confrontation. It feels like there's no attempt to make us believe it, and it just happens because it needs to happen. And so it's kind of unfortunate in an issue like this that we get our big reveal that apparently Red Robin is one of Mother's plants. Has been, then one presumes, created by Mother when he was born, or I don't know how that works, or did he replace the original Red Robin? There's also another example of things just sort of happening, is this conversation with Red Hood and Red Robin with spoiler about why did she let the other two women go. But there's no sense of her having let them go. There's no sense of anything having really happened. They just say it happened and it happened. And it just, all of the characters feel weakened here. And near the end, I guess on the very last page, I guess Cassandra Cain is whispering that, not Cassandra Cain, sorry, spoiler, is whispering to Red Hood that Cassandra's barely a person. And there's some people online, and it was discussed a bit on Twitter with a link to an article. I don't know if I can find that article or whether it's worth people bothering with, but claiming that that was an attack on mute people or people with a speech problem, because Cassandra Cain is mute except for being able to say the word mother. I don't think the writing here was good enough to know what she was referring to. So when she says she's barely human, what Steve Orlando thinks she's barely human because she's attacking and trying to kill us, or does she think she's barely human because she can't talk, or does she think she's barely human because of something else? There's other lines in here that have the same sort of, we're not quite sure what the author's thinking. So I came away with this with a very bad feeling about Steve Orlando, the writer, and a slightly bad feeling about the artist. The art looks nice, it's just when you try to get any feeling out of it, that you have no feeling out of it. Another example, it might not be directly the same as that Cassandra Cain spoiler stuff, but is Bruce Wayne is talking to the face-scrambled Grayson, and he just seems like an idiot. Not only does he have no memory of anything, but he just seems like an idiot. Just like in that earlier thing was like when he actually believes Dick Grayson that they're food inspectors. Here he says, well, I'm just glad someone came to my party. Is Bruce Wayne supposed to be ironic there? Is he supposed to be an idiot? Is he joking around with Dick Grayson? There's no, between the art that doesn't express any much and the kind of odd dialogue choices, it's just everywhere the characters here are poorly served. But we get all those plot points hit. The sad news is that next issue, from what I saw in some listings for next week, is by this same creative team, Steve Orlando and Scott Eaton. So I'm feeling like we're going to have 2 bad issues in a row. I'd be happy to be disproved. Maybe Steve Orlando will hit his groove or get more involved with the story with the next issue. I hope to be disproven there and have that done for me. So I feel like we're going to have to weather these 2 issues, and then hopefully the other writers involved. We know that Tinian and Seeley so far are doing a good job, so hopefully the other writers involved will also step up to the plate and take this job seriously, because it still feels like a cool mystery. This issue, like the previous 2 issues, follows the pattern of just a few scenes per issue and taking some time. Only here it was kind of wasted. With the amount of time that this fight scene had, it should have been awesome, but it was just sort of there. So, yeah, I would give this a very low rating. If this were what the rest of the series is going to be like, then there's no point in reading it. Okay, so after I read that last night, I started to read Grayson, and I just had such a bad taste in my mouth from reading Batman and Robin Eternal that Grayson seemed bad to me. So I stopped reading it, and I read it again today on my lunch break. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. And there's some kind of cool stuff. I thought we would get some kind of bondage scene. Probably not exactly like this cover, but there is no bondage scene in here. I don't know what this bondage scene on the cover is trying to relay to us. Maybe they have a scene where the female doctor of Spiral's doing a rather intrusive check of Grayson, but I thought maybe there's something more to come, some more bondage elements to come. Shades of 1940s Wonder Woman, I almost thought. So in a way, this, which is unusual for Grayson, like Grayson, especially like in maybe the first 8 or 9 issues, and we're only on issue 13, every issue felt like, although part of a larger puzzle, also a semi-complete story in itself. And this felt like one of those, what we're familiar with in many comics, a kind of in-between issue where we're getting from A to B. So I can't remember this very cool character who works in the God Garden. I don't know if that comes from Midnighter. I know Midnighter and Grayson were together in an issue of Midnighter recently. But I really like this character, so maybe I need to go back and check my other Graysons and see where she is. She's some kind of cyborg who works for the God Garden, which is, as far as I understand, a satellite with all kinds of weird science stuff in it that sends out its own agents and is run by this woman. We have encountered it at least once before in Grayson, but I don't have a lot of information on it. Maybe, again, because I'm not reading Midnighter. Interestingly, there's an appearance by Red Robin in here, who's doing all kinds of tech stuff helping out Grayson. Now, are we supposed to mistrust him because we know from Batman Eternal that he's a bad guy? He's being mind-controlled by Mother. I don't know if that's going to leak in here. So yeah, it was a decent in-between issue. I still have lingering fears that Grayson will go off the rails because of all the Robin stuff going on, and the being pulled back more into the Gotham world will make the spy world less believable to me, and maybe fracture the storytelling techniques that they've used before because of their need to tie everything in to other stuff. So could we be seeing the beginning of the end of Grayson as a super spy and see him go back to being more of a Gotham superhero, maybe while maintaining his Grayson identity? I really don't understand what his mission is anymore. I guess it's now to continue infiltrating Spiral to find out who Agent Zero is, because Agent Zero's doing what does he think? I mean, we know that Agent Zero, I think it was Agent Zero, has faked who the spy is internally so that they think it's Checkmate, so that Spiral will go to war with Checkmate. So someone is, and I think it's Agent Zero, is trying to disrupt the whole world of these international covert agencies. I don't even know, who does Spiral work for? At one point, I think there was some other people that the matron of Spiral was answering to, but I keep spinning out of control mentally about understanding what's going on in Grayson in terms of the overarching purpose and meaning of everything. But I'm still enjoying it. But yeah, at some point I can imagine some point dropping it because I want to read other things. So my favorite Bat book of the week, by quite a long shot, was Robin S.O.B., Son of Batman. I would keep wanting to say son of a bitch. The amazing thing is writing and drawing on a monthly basis for 5 straight issues now, at least. We have no signs of fill-ins. Gleason's art just remains top-notch. Better, consistently better, consistently at a high level than when he was just the artist on Batman and Robin. When he was not the writer. So maybe because he's the writer, he's actually drawing better every month after month. The plot is getting kind of gonzo. We have Talia back from the dead. We have some kind of super evil, supernatural people who the Lazarus Pits had been stolen from by Ra's al Ghul, now back in the world, and they sink Al Ghul Island. So we're getting things on a very big scale, and we got to return to the kind of mutant Robin clones that we had seen, we hadn't seen in a while, and I guess an end to them all. Was it all of them, or were there just 3 of them? I thought there were a whole bunch more. But they're all on this island, so I guess if they sunk the island, if there were any others, they died. But it was a nice emotional turn there. I just continue to feel really good about the character of Robin. If you had to bring back Talia, this is a really interesting way to do it. So yeah, it feels like with all the different plot elements that in 5 issues that Gleason has set into motion, you're watching someone juggling, like a chainsaw and a broom and a bicycle wheel or something, and you're waiting for him to drop one. But so far he hasn't dropped one, and he's just adding more and more crazy elements into his juggling act, and you're just on the edge of your seat. So I hope he can keep it up, and yeah, so it's pretty amazing. We're now a long way from the Pete Tomasi territory, and that Gleason has taken us there in this wild direction in 5 issues. It's just a pretty amazing feat. It could be, by issue 12 or 13 or 14, we'll say, well, this was all a mistake. But at the moment, I'm pretty dazzled. Okay, I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.